Hello everyone. My name is Stuti Jain, and I'm here to introduce you to TIBCO Spotfire training part 2, uh, which comprises of Iron Python and R programming in Spotfire. So I'll just share my screen and I'll stop the video to keep the focus on the training material. Okay. So this training is mainly about use of Iron Python development, scripting in Spotfire, and R scripting in Spotfire. But we are going to see some other topics as well because they are relative to, they are important to for the development of automation and TERR scripting. So the objectives of this particular training includes these. First, we are going to see how we can create customized expressions in Spotfire. Customized expressions are important. Customized expressions are important because we need to understand. We need when you're going to create R in Spotfire, R scripting, or R functions, or how you can use those data functions or expression functions of R, how you can create those expressions. So for that, we need to understand how we can create custom expressions. We'll also understand the different expression builder details. We'll explore the use of properties and functions in expressions. Properties and functions are required to build these customized expressions in Spotfire. We'll also see how we can use text areas in Spotfire. Text areas are not visualizations, but they are really important, and how you can customize and use these text areas to, manipulate the properties and the different controls, action controls and property controls. So we'll see what are property controls, how we can insert them in text areas. We'll see how we can create action controls and action control scripts. We'll understand what is TERR in Spotfire and how we can use inline TERR expressions and TERR expression functions. We'll also see how we can create and register TERR data functions in Spotfire with various input and output parameters. For any function to execute, we understand that some input is required and some output is thrown out of the function. So we'll understand the different input output parameters that are assigned for a function, and then how we can apply these data functions, their data functions that we have created in Spotfire using R scripting, how we can apply them in our Spotfire analysis. So the first thing that we're going to see is what is custom expressions. Custom expressions, first of all, is a very important and powerful feature of Spotfire. What in the previous training, as you might have already seen, that we have some aggregation functions that are provided when we are using them in visualizations. When you use a continuous column, you are provided with some aggregation functions which are built in, like sum, average, difference percentage, these kinds of functions. So these are all inbuilt functions provided in Spotfire. Now, if you want to create a function which is not defined in Spotfire, a customized function or a customized aggregation, that you can do using the custom expressions. Okay, now you can insert custom expressions in two ways. Custom as a custom expression, okay, that means modifying an existing column, or you know um, modifying an existing axis like x-axis, y-axis, or a color by variable which is color by axis, also referred to as color by axis, or a line by axis, like that. So what we do, we modify these existing axes in the visualization by inserting a custom expression. So we'll see how we'll do that in a minute. We'll go to the tool. So how we can insert these custom expressions, either we can go to this expanded mode, and here in the edit expression, you can see sum of total amount of purchases. It's written over there. So you can just remove this and type in your customized expression. Okay, so either you can use this expanded mode, or you can right click on the axis, x axis, y axis, color axis, all of these, right click and select custom expression. Okay, the second method of creating custom expressions is creating a calculated column. Now the difference between custom expression and calculated column is that a custom expression is applied on a visualization axis. Okay, but when you create a calculated column, that column is added to the data table in the Spotfire document. Okay, so basically this creates a new column in the data table, and this column, which is created using the existing columns from the data table, okay, is treated like any other column. You can use that to apply filters. You can use that particular column like any other data column from the data table in visualization axis, and you can apply aggregations to these columns that you have created. So when we are creating an expression, okay, these are the details that helps us. Okay, we'll go to the tool and see this particular dialog box, and I'll explain over there what are the different things you can see here. While writing the expression functions, these are some of the things that you can remember. This is basically the expression builder over here. This is the text area, where you build the expression. Okay, now in this text area, there are certain help that is provided when you are creating the expression. So any expression, in the expression, everything that is blue in color is keywords. Okay, every kind of text or string that is passed in double quotes is pink in color. Any column name is verified by green color. If there are any errors in your expression, they are identified by red color. Okay, then you insert different kinds of properties. These properties are inserted in this particular purple color, like that. Okay, now if there is any error in your expression, which the error is identified by this red color, and also an exclamation mark appears on the right side of the expression builder over here if there is a syntax error. And when you hover over that particular this exclamation mark, you will be able to see the error. So what you can do, line numbers are provided in line numbering is provided in expressions if you have a complex expression like this. So if you write these kind of expressions in multiple lines, it is easier to track any errors if they occur. Okay, so let's go to the tool. Okay, now here we'll see how we can create custom expressions. So um, if any custom expression or a calculated column has already been created for a particular data table, you can check all of those from the data canvas flyout, which you have already seen in the previous training. So what you have to do, just select the respective data table, and then here you can see that two additional operations have been performed in this particular data table. So when you click over this office supplies, you'll be able to see all the customized uh, custom operations that have been performed over this particular data table. So you can see there are two added calculated columns. One is discounted sales, one is no discounted sales. So if you click on the settings over here, you will be able to see that this particular expression has been applied to calculate the no discount sales. Okay, so basically what this table is providing, it is providing the sales amount for different orders with a discount percentage. So we only had sales and discount from the original data table. What we did, we used these existing columns to create a no discount sales column. Now this is a calculated column, and how we can see what expression has been applied, just go to data canvas flyout, click on the settings, and this is the expression. So basically this is the dialog box you'll always be able to see, whether it is add calculated column, edit a calculated column, or a custom expression. Okay, so this is the dialog you will be able to see. Now in this dialog, you can see there are different things available which to help you to build the custom expression. You have all the available columns from the respective data table which has been selected. Okay, this is edit calculated column, and hence the option to change the data table is not provided. We'll see that in a minute. Okay, then you have the available properties for column. Okay, we'll see in the next section what are properties and how we can use them. Okay, so these are the different types of properties that are provided, that are inbuilt, or some of them have been manually customized, customly created by me or by a user to be used in the expressions. Then you have a function section. All the functions, inbuilt functions in Spotfire, are provided under this function section. They are categorized based on these different categories: binning functions, conversion, date and time, logical, math, over functions, property functions, statistical functions, like that. So if you already know these categories, you can just click select the category from here, and then you can it enlists or filters the functions based on this particular category, or you can use the search filter over here and find for a function, like that. Okay, so right now what it is doing, anything that starts with NAM or includes NAM has been filtered out only for text functions. Now if you change this to all functions, what it is doing, it is filtering anything that has NAM in the function name. Okay, so like that you can search a function. Now, if you have to insert any column or property or function, you have different buttons provided. Where exactly do we insert them? In this expression builder. Okay, let's say if you have to insert no discounted sales columns, just select the column and click on insert column. Or apart from this, what you can do, just start typing in. So as you're typing in, the help is provided along with that. Just press on enter to add that particular column. Okay, you can directly type in the expression like this as well, like that. Okay, so this is how you can build the expression. Okay, then you can provide the column name, because this is a calculated column and hence a name is required for the column. You can also see the preview whether your expression is right or wrong. If there is any error, let's say we remove this particular bracket, round parenthesis. Now if we remove this, we have already opened one and we have not closed it, so you will be able to see the syntax error over here. Okay, that a parenthesis is required, a close parenthesis is expected in this line, like that. You can also change the formatting of the column that has been created from this particular formatting button. Okay, so this is an already created column, add calculate column. Now if you want to create a new calculate or insert a calculated column, from where you can do that, go to data menu and then click on add calculated column. Okay, let's say we'll insert a function for calculating the date difference for items that are ordered on and delivered on, difference between ordered on and delivered on. Now from here you can select the data table uh, for which you want to create a calculated column. If you have multiple data tables in your Spotfire document, you can select it from here. So in edit calculated column, we were already in this particular data table, office supplies. So the option was not provided. But here we are creating a new column. So all the data tables that are present in Spotfire document are listed here. Select the respective table. The columns will be available based on that. The properties will be from the Spotfire document, and then the functions. You can search for the function name by typing in a keyword over here, or you can directly go to date and time functions and select date diff, whichever function you are looking for. If you don't know which category it belongs to, just type in the name and you'll be able to see the function name listed here. Okay, then click on insert function to insert that function. Now if you want to know the arguments that you have to pass for this particular function and what is going to be the output of this function, that is provided in this description area. Okay, so basically it says that it calculates the difference between any two date time or date time columns. Okay, so we have to provide the input as a date and time column. These are the arguments. You can see there are three arguments. The first one should be the first and second should be date columns. Okay, sorry, the first should be what is going to be the output. Like you want the date difference to be in days, number of weeks, number of years, like that. So that is identified over here. For argument 1, these are the valid arguments. For year, you can either use year or YY. For day, you can use day or DD, like that. Okay, so let's say if we want to calculate it in days, so we'll pass first argument as DD. That is going to be a string. Then the date columns. Second and third argument will be the date columns. So I'll say ordered on, okay, separated by comma, and then delivered on. Now we have to provide a column name because we are creating a calculated column. Let's say days to deliver. Okay, now here you can see the sample result. Okay, we are getting a value of positive value of 3. This usually shows the result of the first row. Okay, now we know that 3 is a valid number, it's a positive number. You can change the formatting from here, from real to, let's say, integer, or just remove the decimal and then click on OK. Now you can see the number of days is 3. You have provided a column name, the expression has no errors, and then click on OK. Now you can see a new column, days to deliver, is added to this particular data table, office supplies. Okay, now you can use this particular column like any other column. Let's say no discounted sales as well is a calculated column. Now if I have a visualization as in bar chart, which is showing the distribution of sum of sales over order priority, I can see a comparison of sum of sales over sum of no discounted sales, like that. Okay, so what we did, we just used a calculated column like any other column. We just selected it from the in the y-axis with a inbuilt aggregation. Okay, similarly what we can do, we can select color by as, let's say, days to deliver. Sorry. Or we can add days to deliver, like this. Okay, so this is how you can create and use calculated columns. Now if you have to create a custom expression, what you can do, you can use the expanded mode. If it is not expanded, you can expand it from here, of any of the axis. You can use the expanded mode and directly type in the expression, but no help is provided, so you need to be aware of the different functions that you're using, the column names and everything. Now if you need help to create any expression, what you have to do, for any of the axes, just right click on it and select custom expression. Okay, now since we have selected the custom expression for color by, we need a categorical variable to distribute this color by, and hence this angular brackets is provided. Any continuous column or any kind of column that you want to categorize as a categorical column, you can place that particular column inside the angular braces in the custom expression. Okay, so in this expression, let's say we'll write an expression to calculate or color by if days to deliver is greater than 30, that means it was delivered late. If it was less than 30, then it was on time. Okay, and you can provide a name for this custom expression, date or on time, and then click on OK. Now the blue portion is representing the late orders and the red one is representing on time orders. Okay, you can change these to side by side. You can provide labels to this, like that. Okay, so this is how you can create a custom expression or a calculated column in Spotfire. Next is, okay, now next is use of properties and functions. We have already seen that we have different kinds of functions that we can use in Spotfire. These functions are grouped into categories, different categories: text function, date and time function, like that. You can insert these functions using the insert function button or just double click. Okay, different arguments are passed in these functions as inputs. You can pass arguments as column names, properties, static values like numbers and text values. Okay, now the next thing is properties. Till now we have seen that we have available properties section in the calculate column dialog or the custom expression dialog. So what exactly are these properties? Properties are nothing but changeable settings and visualizations. You can change a visualization axis, um, the values of the axis of these visualizations using these properties. Now the properties can be of these three different types. They can be in Spotfire, they can be of these three different types: document properties, data table properties, and column properties. Okay, now these properties can be inserted in expressions either as actual values or text values. So you can either insert them as a insert as value or insert as text. Okay. We'll see a little bit more about properties and how we can create them after using this text areas. Okay. Now, text areas in Spotfire can be inserted using visualization types flyout, but they are not visualizations. A text area can be used to provide, different kinds of observations, finding, or details about your analysis, and you can also insert actionable items in Spotfire in text areas, uh, like links, images, and buttons. Okay. You can edit a text area by clicking on this edit text area icon, which appears when you hover the mouse over the top right corner of the text area. Okay. Now let's go to the tool and see. Now you can insert a text area from the visualization types flyout. Okay, and hover the mouse over the top right corner and click on edit text area to edit this. Okay, now these are the different options that are provided to edit the text area. You can, if you have any kind of text that you have inserted in the text area, you can change the font size, make it bold, italic, underline it, change the color of the text. You can change the alignment, you can provide bulleting, change the indentation. You can insert a background image, or you can insert an image, or you can insert a background image, like that. You can insert a web link if you want to provide a link. You can change the background color from here. Okay, you can provide a background image as well if you have a company logo or something that you want to add in the text area. Apart from that, there are certain actionable items that you can insert, which includes action controls, filters. You can add filters. We'll see how we can do that in a minute. You can add property controls. Now we have seen what are properties. They are changeable settings, and how we can change or customize these properties is through these property controls basically. Okay, then you can also add dynamic items. These dynamic items are nothing but that we use in the graphical table. You may not be aware of the graphical table if you have not gone through the courses right now for Spotfire, but when you will do that, you will understand what these are exactly. Okay, so you can insert these dynamic items called sparkline, calculated value, icon, like these. Okay, now see, this is one of the dynamic items that you can see. It's a sparkline. Click on edit and right click on this control and say edit control. You'll be able to see this is a sparkline. You can see which data table it is using to display this particular sparkline. Sparkline is nothing but a kind of a line chart. Okay, you can add the starting point and the end point. You can provide the line width, color, all these things, and then you can provide the axis, the x and y axis. Any kind of visualization requires x and y axis to be to display the comparison or the values. Okay, now because this is a line chart, it requires a date and time column in the x-axis to show the time period, and then any continuous column in the y-axis. Okay, so this is how you can create or insert a dynamic item. Apart from that, you can insert actionable items like these links. So what exactly it is doing, when I click on this particular data table, it takes me to the table, to the page data table. Okay, so how that has been done, just click on this control and click on edit control. So an action control has been added to this particular text. So what I have done is this data table, when we select on this data table, let's create one, select on this regional details. Okay, and then click on insert action control. Okay, now when you do that, after selecting regional details, some text that has already been written in the text area, when you select that, the display text is already filled as regional details. Now you can select the control type from here. You can either insert this as a button, a link, or an image. Okay, so let's say we select it as a link. The control type is link. Now, in the pages and navigation, now in the actions, you have these three different types of categories or actions that you can insert. You can either provide action as a function, bookmark, or page and navigation, page navigation. Okay. Now in page navigation, what I want is I want to link this particular text to this page, that is regional details. So I'll select that page and then click on add. You can also select a particular visualization inside that page. If you have multiple visualizations or text area inside that page, you can select that and add that particular visualization uh, for navigation. Okay, right now what I'm doing, I'm selecting the entire page. Click on add, you'll be able to see that navigate to this particular page is selected as an action, and then click on OK. Okay, now save the area. It's important to save the text area and then close it. Now, when you click on regional details, what Spotfire does, it navigates to this particular page, regional details. Okay, so this is how you can insert links, page navigation. Similarly, you can also insert bookmarks, actionable buttons or links as bookmarks. Now, this particular button, what it does, it is, let's go to the text area. Okay, right click on this control and see what exactly the central region is doing. It is the action that has been assigned to this is the central region, which is a bookmark. Okay, so what this bookmark does, how we can see that, just click on this button and you can see that this particular bookmark is associated with marking the central region in this map chart. When this region is marked, the tree map is populated like that. Okay, so this is how you can also insert bookmarks. Okay, so these are the different things, actionable items, that you can insert in text areas. Okay, next is property control. Property controls in text areas. We have already seen that properties are customizable elements, okay, which can be adjusted or configured for different visualizations and calculations. Those are, they are called as properties. Now these properties, how we can customize them, how we can adjust or configure them using the property controls. How these property controls are added, these property controls are added in the text areas, and then you can use these property controls to modify the property values. Okay, sorry. Okay, now here in this page you can see we have a visualization, a data table, a table visualization, and in text areas we can see some properties have already been added. Okay, now what is happening, let's say in a minute I will show how we have how I have added this particular property. First, what we're going to see how this changes this property, change in this property control will affect the change in this particular visualization. So what I'm going to do, let's go to the edit text area and see how we have created this. So what happens, this I have provided the assistance by text for this particular property control, that select column for x-axis, that is for this particular line chart. Okay, now right click on this particular control, and here you can see a property control dialog is opened. Now this property, in this property control dialog, what you can do, you can first of all select the control type. There are different types which are listed in this drop down list. You can insert a label, an input field with multiple lines, a drop down list, a list box, with multiple selection, and a slider. Okay, so what I've done, I have selected a drop down list for this particular property control. Okay, now the next thing that we want is to assign a property to this control to be used. Okay, when we change something in this particular drop down list, the value that are provided in this drop down list, it should be associated with a property which will change the settings in your visualization. Okay, so we have to create that particular property. So the property that is linked to this property control is the column selection. Okay, so how you can create one, just click on new, provide a property name, provide a data type, and then click on OK. If you want to provide, you can provide a default value as well. If nothing is selected, that value will be taken as the property value. Okay, and then click on OK to add that property. Now column selection has already been selected. This particular has the name as column selection, the data type is string. Okay, and right now the value is order priority. Okay, for string it is not important to provide a value, you can keep it as null, the default value. Okay, now the next thing that we do for any property, let's say if I'm providing a control type, property control type as drop down list, there should be some elements to be selected in the drop down list. So the property values are that. So how you can set the property value, you have these 5 options. You can use column selection, unique values, expressions, fixed values, numerical range, like that. Okay, so here I have selected column selection. You can select the data table from where you want to select it, like I've selected office supplies, and then the columns that I want to list in this drop down list. Okay, now how I can, now when I'm changing this particular property from one category to another, okay, nothing is changed right now. It's not reflecting anywhere. Now if I want this to reflect in this particular line chart, let's say in x-axis, okay, so what I'll do, right click on this x-axis, okay, and say set from property. Now here we have to select not the control but the property that has been associated with this property control, that is column selection. So just select this particular property and then click on OK. See, now the property has changed, the x-axis has changed to what has been selected in this particular property control. Let's say we change it to order priority. The x-axis in the line chart changes. If we change it to market segment, again the x-axis in the line chart changes based on the property. So this is how you can link your property control in the text area to your visualization axis. Okay. Similarly, you can use these property controls to in your expressions. Now let's say we have discounted sales over here. Okay, so we already had sales column and the discount column, based on which we have created this discounted sales. Let's go to data canvas, click on discounted sales. Now here what we have done right now, this is the expression used to create it. Sales into 1 minus discount divided by 100. Okay, now what I'm doing right now, I'm using the discount column. Now instead of that, what I want to do, I want to use a property which I have created. Let's say percent discount. Okay, what this property is doing, this is a slider which is providing minimum 10% discount and maximum 10% discount with a difference of 5. Okay, now what we can do, we can use this particular property in the expression. Instead of discount, what we can do, we can insert the property associated with that property control, that is percent discount. So just right click on it and insert as value, and then click on OK. Now when we'll change the discount percentage here, you'll be able to see the discounted sales value is changing here in this column. As I'm increasing the discount percentage, the discounted sales value is decreasing, like that. So this is how you can use property in an expression. Okay. Next is action controls. We have already seen that we can use action controls as link, button, or an image, and we can use these different kinds of actions. We can insert functions as an action, bookmarks or page navigation, all these things. So bookmarks should already be created in your Spotfire document. There should be multiple pages and visualizations to navigate to in your Spotfire document to use these actions. Okay. Next is action control scripts. Now, in action control scripts, using these action controls, a button, a link, or an image, you can also create Iron Python scripting. Okay, so how we can do that? Let's say in this text area, again, we have to go to the text area. Let's say we'll insert action control. Insert action control. Okay. First of all, you can choose whether what do you want to insert, an action, an export, report, script, data function, etc. So first we'll go to the script. Okay, because we are trying to create an action control script. Now the scripting can be provided using, you can add a new script, or you can import any existing scripts that you have with you from file or from Spotfire library. Okay, so you can provide a display text, let's say add new page. Okay, you can select the control type, which is button, link, or image. We'll say button. Now we can provide a new script over here. For that, click on the new button. When we click on the new button, a new script dialog is opened. In this, you can provide the script name. You can provide the Iron Python version that you want to use, description, the script written in Iron Python, and then you can click on OK. So let's say we'll provide the name as new page. Okay, and we are going to write a script to add a new page to this Spotfire document. So that will be, no help is provided in this particular dialog. Okay, so you need to be aware of all the Spotfire API, automation API that has been, the libraries that are used, to create this or develop this script. So Spotfire has this Python API, which you can use or refer to the different libraries, the different classes, all these things are provided, which you need to be aware of to be used in this scripting. Okay, let's say right now it's document dot pages dot add new. This is it. Yeah. Okay, and then provide a name to this new page. Okay, so this is how you enter the script. You need to be aware of the different classes and properties and arguments that are to be provided and functions associated with that particular script for Spotfire. Okay, and then click on OK. Then again click on OK, and you can see a button has been added. Okay, save and close. Now when you click on add new page, see a new page is added with the name my new page. Okay, now let's say you do not want to provide the page name in the script itself. You want the user to provide a page name in this input field, and you want to use that page name to insert a new page. So how you can do that? Click on edit. Okay, this is a page name, which is a property. You can go to edit control and see the property associated with this, which is again a page name. Okay, now we'll again go to this button. and change the script, edit the script. So just select the existing script and click on edit. Okay. Now instead of providing the hard code value, what we'll do, we'll assign a parameter to this particular script. Let's say page name. Okay. Now this parameter is not yet defined. Now to define a parameter for this particular script, that is page name, you can click add on script parameter section. Okay, now because I already selected this particular parameter, you can see the name has already been taken in the add script parameter, or you can provide the name manually. Okay, provide a description if any, and these are the different types that you can provide for this particular script parameter: a visualization, a page, a data table. So you can either provide Spotfire objects, which can be a visualization, Spotfire page, a data table that has been added to this particular Spotfire document, or they can be the normal data types from string, integer, real, currency, all these things. So let's say we'll select a string. Now when we are selecting a normal data type, the debug value changes. If you select a visualization, the debug value is different. You have to select the current page and the visualization. Now if you change it to a normal data type, let's say string, the debug value changes. You can either provide a hard code value, a property, or an expression. So we'll select a property because we need to use the page name property. Click on select property, and from here you can directly select the page name property. Click on OK, and then click on OK. Now you can see the page name is associated with this. Now we'll click on OK to edit script. Again OK, save the text area and close. Now when we will create a new page, let's say my first page. If you provide a name in this particular property input field and click on add new page, here you can see the new page is created with the page name which we have provided, the user has provided in the input field. Okay, so this is how you can add an action control script. You can create an Iron Python script, and you can provide parameters to this particular script. Okay, you can, what we can also do is we can also debug these scripts. For that, what we can do, you can also, if you do not want to use any actionable item, an action control in the text area, and directly input or change a script, what you can do, go to file and select document properties. In the document properties, you have the scripts tab, where you will be able to see all the scripts that you have created in this particular Spotfire document. Okay, just select the script, create a new one, import, or select the existing script, and you can edit directly from here. Okay, so you can also see the output, print the output in this output section, or you can print the output in a file. Okay, now if you want to print the output in the output section, you have this particular script, that is the print function. New page title is like that, and then you can provide the title over here. So it is documented or displayed as in the output. Now what you can do, just click on OK. Okay, now when you create a new page and click on add new page, okay, you'll be able to see the output. Actually, when you directly run it from here, you can see it here. Right now, this is associated with an action control, a button. That is the reason that you're not able to see. You can directly run the script from here as well. Let's say if we create a new one. See, now the run script button is active. Now when you click on run script over here, again a second page name is created and you can see the debug value in the output section. Okay, so this is how you can create and Python scripts. You can associate them with action controls that you insert in the text area, or you can directly create the scripts using the file document properties script dialog. Okay. So we have already seen that we can create a new script, or we can select scripts from the available scripts and click on edit to edit them. We can provide input parameters, add parameters to these scripts to provide user provided values instead of hard code values. Now for script development, the basic requirements are these basically. A user needs to have a Spotfire developer license. A .NET framework should be installed. Administrator should provide author scripts license to the user, and the users should be a member of script author. Okay, we have seen how we can add parameters to our scripts, and we can add these parameters in two types: Spotfire objects or basic data types. Okay. Next is TERR. Uh, TERR is basically TIBCO Enterprise Runtime for R, is basically an enterprise grade analytical engine that is compatible with R provided in Spotfire. You have a wide range of built-in uh, TERR methods in Spotfire that you can use to create expressions, and use the TERR engine to execute these expressions. Okay, TERR is basically designed for the compatibility of R language in Spotfire. So basically, what you do, you use the R language scripting to develop these TERR scripts, which are executed in Spotfire using the TERR engine. Okay. Now, in Spotfire, how we can use these TERR expressions? We have some inbuilt TERR expression functions. We'll see them in a minute. Okay. Then we have expression functions that you can create custom expression functions using TERR or R language, and data functions. Now we can execute these different TERR expressions or data functions in Spotfire using the TERR engine. This TERR engine is provided with Spotfire installation locally. Okay, or what you can do, you can, for better performance, you can separately install this TERR engine on the Spotfire server. Okay, so even if you are using Spotfire desktop, which is a standalone Spotfire tool, or if you're using Spotfire analyst, which connects to Spotfire server, either way you can use the TERR engine, because TERR engine is provided with the Spotfire installation, and you can install it separately in the Spotfire server for better performance. Now, to create or develop these R scripts, different TERR tools are provided. Okay, we should have a TERR extension license to use these TERR tools. A user should have the TERR extension license provided by Spotfire administrator to use these TERR tools. Okay, you can use the R Studio to launch the R Studio IDE for authorizing or creating the TERR scripts or R scripts, for developing the R scripts. Okay, so you need to refer to the Spotfire documentation to understand which R Studio version and R version is compatible with the Spotfire version that you're using. Okay, with different Spotfire versions, different R Studio IDE and R console um, uh, is required, different versions are required to be for the compatibility. So you need to check that first before installing them for use. Okay, so what you can do, you can use TERR tools in the tools menu in Spotfire to access these. You can find out the TERR engine path. You can open the TERR language reference for creating your R script. You can launch the TERR console. And you can also launch the RStudio IDE. So the console and IDE are not installed with Spotfire. They have to be separately installed. Okay. Now, then different kinds of expressions that you can create and use in Spotfire using our language are inline TERR expressions, expression functions, and then data functions. Okay. Now, in inline TERR expressions are basically the inbuilt TERR expressions that are provided by Spotfire. So these are all categorized under statistical function categories. Okay, so what you can do under statistical function categories, you can go and find the function for all these inline TERR expressions. That is TERR binary, TERR boolean, TERR date and time, TERR integer, TERR real, like that. And when you select a particular inline TERR expression, you will be able to see in the description what are the different inputs that are required for that particular inline TERR expression and the outputs. Okay, so okay. Now, the category is basically under statistical function. You can insert these functions using the insert function button. Now, the use of these inbuilt inline TERR expressions is basically when you are creating these R scripts which are short, one-liner, like these. A TERR real function has been used. Now, the output um, there are two parts for this particular expression. The output, the script, which is enclosed inside these double quotes, and then the input values that are provided for this function. Since this is function, we know that input is required. So this is the script for TERR real, that is output, input divided by input 1 divided by input 2. So output identifies that this is going to be the output for this particular uh, inline TERR expression, which is going to be in real form. Okay, and we have two inputs, input 1 divided by input 2. Now these are written as input 1, input 2, input 3, etc. All these values, so the input values inside the script. Now after closing the script, or whatever script you are writing, you have to provide these input values. Now these input values could be anything: column names, property values, hard code values, static values, like that. Okay, so the inputs to these particular R scripts are provided as arguments. Okay, let's go to the tool and see. Now Now, when you click on this particular data table, which is car performance analysis data table, you'll be able to see different operations have been performed. And so something is missing. Yeah, so basically in this analysis, what we are doing, annual fuel cost versus over city fuel efficiency is shown in this particular scatter plot. Now, if I want to create an inline TERR expression for this particular analysis and want to color this particular scatter plot based on different clusters, what I can do, I can create a inline TERR expression. For that, go to color by and select custom expressions. Okay, now what I can do, because this is a color by variable, we need a categorical variable, and hence the expression has to be inserted inside the angular brackets. Okay, now what I'm doing is I am creating a function that is I'm creating an inline TERR expression using the TERR integer function. You can find the TERR integer function in the functions dialog. Okay, and here you can see the different arguments that have to be provided and an example of how we can use this particular script, this inline TERR expression. Okay, then inside that we have to provide the script to be used for this particular expression. Now what I'm adding is I'm providing a k-means clustering for this particular to create clusters. Okay, I'm using a k-means function using R script to providing the input, that is x and y values to this particular k-means function, and input 3 as the number of clusters that I want to add. Okay, so the output will be an integer value. So now we have three inputs in this particular script. Input 1, input 2 are provided as x and y axis. So x and y axis are provided to this. These are basically columns, x and y columns. Okay, so these are provided as input 1 and input 2, and then input 3, which is supposed to be the number of clusters, is provided as a document property. A document property, that is number of clusters. Okay, so this is the script area which is using k-means clustering to cluster the values, and these are the different input values that are provided to this particular script. Okay, you can provide a display name if you want to, or just click on OK. So now what happened, this inline TERR expression is executed from the using the local TERR engine. Okay, using the local TERR engine, and clusters are created using k-means clusters based on the input provided, that is x and y axis. And you can see the first cluster uses blue values, second uses red values, like that, and color Y has been added. So this is how you can use the inline TERR expressions. Next is TERR expression functions. Now we can create TERR expression when we have to create a complex TERR expression, okay, which provides a column as an output, a single column as an output. We use TERR expression functions. TERR expression functions can be added using the data functions dialog. We'll see how we can add that. In the data menu, you have data function properties, where you have the expression functions dialog tab, which you can use to create or insert a new expression function or edit an existing expression function. Okay, now again, this is you provide the script, you provide a name for the expression function, provide a description for the expression function, uh, what the function does, what are the different arguments, and how you can use that particular function. And then in the script area, you provide the R script that is used to execute that function. What is the basically the function of that particular script. Okay, now different input and output parameters again are similar to what we have seen in the inline TERR expressions. Okay, the input values could be column values, document properties, or static values, and at least one input is required, and all the input variables inside the script are referred to as input 1, input 2, input 3, etc., like that. Okay, and then the output value must be assigned to a variable named output, like this. So this is the script section, the input values, the columns as inputs, and the document properties as inputs. Okay, so let's go and see how we can create an expression function, which has already been actually created. When you go to the data menu, in data function properties, here you can see I have already created two expression functions. Okay, lower confidence level and upper confidence level. You can click on edit and see what has been done for this particular expression function. So what we are doing here is, this is an expression function which calculates upper confidence levels of predicted values. Okay, so we have provided an example of how we can use that and what the arguments can be. Okay, so the name, the description, and the script. So what this script is calculating, it is calculating the upper confidence level for the inputs provided. Okay, similarly, the lower confidence level with the name, the description, and the script. and the script is developed in R. Okay, now how we can use these? Let's say if you want to add lines and curves like that. Okay, now here what we can do, you can insert the line or curve for this particular visualization by adding a custom expression. You can add a new line okay, you can add line from the column values, then select the X and Y axis columns. Okay, I'm missing something. So here, now when we are adding the line and curve, we can add the line using line from column values, use a data table, okay, provide the X axis, X values columns, then Y values column.
Hello, Stuti.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I think you're not sharing your screen right now.
Oh,
If that was meant to happen.
sorry. Let me check. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Now it's up. Thank you. Sorry again.
Sorry, I didn't realize it stopped sharing. Okay, so first we have to create these columns actually. Go to data, add calculated column. Okay, now use these expression functions. You can find the function by typing in the name, which will be listed, or it will be listed in the statistical function. Insert the function. You can find the description here. What are the different arguments required? Okay, then provide the argument values. And then click on OK. Now we can use this particular expression to insert the line. In lines and curves, click on line from column values. Select the X and Y column values. If you want, you can provide a custom name and then click on OK. Like that. So this is how you can use the expression function that you have created to create use that particular function to first of all insert a new calculated column. First we inserted a calculated column, okay, and then use that particular lower column to insert this line. Okay, so this is how you can create and use a expression function. Next is data functions. Okay. Now, when we were using expression functions, what was happening? Only you can use those functions to generate a column or insert or create a new column. Okay. Now, if you want the output to be generated more than a column, multiple columns or a data table, you can create data functions instead using the R scripting. Okay, so these data functions again can be created using the same dialog from the data menu, that is data function properties, and you can use the register data functions dialog to register or insert these new data functions. You can provide the name, the type, that is R script, the packages, if there are any custom packages that you're using, you can provide the package names separated by semicolons. Then you can provide the description, what your data function is doing, and then the script. Okay, so let's go to the tool. Now here in this particular analysis, first we have to go to the data function properties. Okay, and in the data functions you can register a new data function using the register new button. Okay, when you click on that, register data function dialogs is open. Now here you can provide the name. Okay, you can provide any custom packages that you're using which are not provided with your CRAN packages. Okay, and the description for that particular function, and then here you provide the R script. Let's say this is my script. Now what this script is doing, it is it is generating clusters using the k-means clustering method. Okay, so this is the script that I've provided, and what it is doing, it is creating a cluster column. Okay, and it is creating a table called cl.centers using these clusters, using the script. Okay, now what we have to do when we are registering a data function, we are trying to create a function, so we have to provide input value, input parameters, and the out, we have to define the input parameters and the output parameters for the script. If you are providing an input, let's say x, y, and k, we are saying that these are the inputs for this particular script, and this is going to be the output. So we have to define what these parameters are going to be. So how you can do that, you can either select it from here and then right click and say input parameter, or you can just go to the input parameters tab and you can add new parameters. The parameter name, we should always remember that, or if you do not want to remember that, just select it from here, right click and say input parameter. So the name is provided, input parameter name. You can provide a display name for this as well. Okay, then provide the type. Let's say I want to use a column as an input parameter for this particular input parameter. Okay, then provide the allowed data types that you want and then click on OK. Similarly, you can provide input parameters for y and k. Okay, let's say for k, what we want to do, we do not want to use a column but a value. Like that. Okay, so we'll just say value, accept all numeric kind of value, and then click on OK. So you can define change the different types. You can use either value or column or data table. Now, to define the output parameters again, what we can do, just select the output parameter from here or directly go to the output parameters tab. Okay, right click on this and say output parameter. Then result parameter name is provided here. You can provide a display name if you want to. Okay, you can provide the type of the output that is going to be generated, whether it is going to be a value, a column, or a table, like that. So I'll say it is a column and then click on OK. Okay, similarly, output parameter, this is going to be a table for me. Provide a description or display name. Okay, then provide the type, any description if any, and then click on OK. So this is how you can write this script. You can use the RStudio IDE or the R console to develop this particular script, because the development for R scripting or any help is not provided in this particular dialog. Okay, how you can open that is go to tools. Okay, in TERR tools, from here you can either launch the TERR console to develop the script, or you can launch the RStudio IDE, which is compatible with the version you're using with Spotfire. Okay, and you can use the console or terminal here to develop that particular R script, and then you can use that R script to create a data function. Okay, so from here you can register the data function. After you have provided the script and input parameter and output parameter and everything, what you can do is, okay, now after this what you can do, you have to save this particular data function somewhere to be used in your analysis files. Okay, so just click on save as. When you click on save as, you can save this data function in the library, in Spotfire library. So you can either use the existing folder which is provided by Spotfire, that is sample data functions, or you can create a folder of your own, and here you can provide a name to your data function and then save it. Okay, you can save the data function, you can export it as a file. You can either save it in the library or you can export it as a file to be shared with someone in the form of .sfd, or you can directly run this data function from here. Okay, now after you have created and saved a data function in the library, you can add that particular, now the data function is already saved in Spotfire library, so it can be used by anyone who has access to that particular folder in Spotfire library. Okay, they can use the data function in their Spotfire analysis. How they can use it? Just go to this data function properties. In data functions dialog, just click on insert. Here, all the data functions that are already provided by Spotfire, which are in the samples data function folder, are provided here, or the function that we have created manually. Everything is provided here. If you're not able to see the function right in front of you, just type in the name to filter. Then select the function and then click on OK to insert that particular or apply that function. Okay, now what we have done till now is register a data function, written in R script. Okay, now that function is already saved in the library. Now what I want to do is I want to use or apply that function in my analysis file. Okay, for that what we do, we insert that function. When we are inserting this function, we have this edit parameters dialog available to us. This edit parameter dialog is basically used to apply the data function. Okay, here we have to provide the different input and output parameters or handlers. We have to use these input and output handlers to provide the input and output for this data function, that is k-means clustering. We have seen that we have already provided input parameters x-axis, x, y, and desired number of clusters. Okay, so we have to map these inputs to the table, data table that is used in our analysis file. Okay, now the x-axis values type is a column. Okay, so what we can do in the input handler, you have these options for the type column, expression, or none. Okay, first we'll go to the column and then we'll select x for this particular input parameter, x-axis values. Okay, now once we do that, you'll be able to see that the input has been assigned as column x for this particular input parameter. Okay, similarly when you go to y-axis values, again the type is column. We'll select input handler as a column. For a data table car performance analysis data, we'll select y. Okay, and you can see that the input now is mapped, y-axis values is mapped with y column. Okay, similarly the next is desired number of clusters. Now the desired number of clusters is of type value, it is not a column. So you have these input handler options available. I mean, the input handler options change with the type of the input parameter. For columns, it was just column, expression, and none. For a value, it's either a value, which could be a hard code value, a document property, a data table property, a column property, or an expression. Okay, so we'll go to the document properties and we'll select number of clusters. Now you can see in the input section, this particular input parameter is now associated with the input as document property from this analysis file. Then the name of the property is number of clusters. Okay. Now here we have assigned the input for all these input parameters. Now we'll go to the output tab to assign the output. The first one again is of type column, that is cluster assignment. Okay, so we'll select columns and okay, so the output will be generated as a column for this particular data table. We have to select the data table. Okay, next is cluster centers, which is of type table. Okay, so we'll select the output handler as data table. Now we do not want to replace the car performance analysis. We want to create a new data table in the name of cluster centers, or you can provide any other custom name which you want. Okay, now here what we can do, we can decide if you want to refresh the function automatically by clicking on this checkbox, if you want to refresh the function automatically, and we can select the run location. Okay, now by default the run location can be provided in the properties, object properties. Basically we'll see from where we can do that later. Okay, now you can select either default, which has been provided in the Spotfire document, or you can force it to run local or on server. Okay, if you have a local machine and the expression or the data function is not really complex and it's not time taking, you can use the force local. Or if you want to force the function to be executed in the server because the expression is complex and you want better performance, you can select force local. Okay, right now we'll select the default and then click on OK. Okay, now this data function has been already applied. Okay, how we can confirm that? Go to the data and analysis flyout, and here you can see a cluster column has been added to car performance analysis data, which was the output of our data function, k means clustering. And again, a cluster centers data table is also inserted with these 4 columns. Okay, so now how we can use these, we can use the column that has been generated as a normal data column. Just use this to color by or size by or any, or let's say I'll select trellising. So this cluster which has provided 5 different clusters, I can use this as a normal data column to be used in any of the axes, either a x-axis or y-axis, or color by, shape by, size by, or as trellising. Okay, we can also use it as color by. Just click on the drop down here and select cluster, like that. Okay, so this is how we can use data functions. We can register the data functions using the register data functions dialog. Okay, then provide the input and output parameters to these data functions, which can be of these types: value, column, or table. Okay, now for applying these data functions, you can either insert it from the library, or if you have exported it in the form of sfd.sfd, you can import it from the file and insert the data function in your Spotfire analysis document. Okay, and then you can apply this data function by providing the input and output handlers, and the input and output handlers change with the type of the input and output parameter. If it is a value, it's going to be these options. If it is going to be a column, it's going to be these options. And if it is a table, it's going to be columns, expressions, or none, like that. Okay, so in this session, what we have seen how we can create custom expressions, which allows us to create custom aggregation methods for to be used in the visualization axis. It could be x-axis, y-axis, color axis, size axis, anything. Okay, We have something called as properties in Spotfire, which are basically changeable settings, and you can use property controls to change the settings for these properties. Okay. We also have pre-built functions provided in Spotfire, which we can use to create these customized expressions, or we can create our own functions. Text area can be inserted using the visualization types flyout, but it is not a visualization. It can be used to provide different observations or findings or linkable items, actionable items, in the form of links, buttons, and images. Okay, you can insert property controls in text areas. You can insert action controls in text areas. Action controls can be, actionable items like exporting a report, or executing in script, or page navigation, or applying bookmarks, all these things. Okay, you can also create action controls uh, in the text areas. We have seen using Iron Python scripting or Java scripting. We have already seen Iron Python scripting, so you need to be aware of the Spotfire API packages to be used in those Iron Python scripting to execute those scripts in Spotfire. Okay, then we have TERR. TERR is basically an enterprise grade analytical engine which is compatible with R, with wide range of built-in methods. We have seen we have different methods that are categorized under the statistical functions which are inbuilt in Spotfire. You can execute these functions either locally on Spotfire tool, or you can execute these TERR expressions through the Spotfire server. Okay, you can use the built-in statistical functions to create inline TERR expressions which are already provided, or you can create custom expressions, expression functions for complex TERR scripts, which again generates a single column. So you can create these functions. You can again use these functions to create the expressions, um, uh, like custom expression or a calculated column, and these are all executed using the TERR engine. Okay, now if you want to generate more than a column, n number of columns, or a data table, you use TERR data functions. So you can register TERR data functions in Spotfire using the data functions dialog, data function properties dialog, and you can provide the input and output parameters for these data functions, and to apply these, and then you can save these data functions to be used in different analysis documents by different users in Spotfire library, or you can export these data functions to a file in the form of .sfd. Okay, now you can import these or insert these data functions using the data function properties dialog from the library or from the file, and then you can apply these data functions in your Spotfire document by providing the input and output parameters using the input and output handlers. Okay, so we need to provide the various inputs from your Spotfire document to be applied to these particular data functions.